Hey, good morning. It's another beautiful day here in Southern California. Look at those mountains, a little snow cap, and for the most part, we have clear skies and sunshine for another beautiful day in the Coachella Valley. Hi, my name is Jeff Harrison, and you are on the Home Comfort Doctor Show. This is sponsored by Anthem Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, located here in Coachella Valley, with offices also in Riverside County. I'm excited today because we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to our hearts, and that's being comfortable inside our home. And it's not just having the right couch or the right lighting or the right TV, but it's something that we all have in our homes, but we kind of forget about. But before we get started, I want to ask Mike about something that is it's pretty special. You don't hear about this kind of stuff, and Mike is one of those guys that you have to drag this out of him. He's not walking around telling this story, but I think it's important to know because when you hire somebody and they go above and beyond, you kind of want to hear this. Let's bring him in. Hey, Mike, how are you doing this morning?
Good, thank you. How you doing, Jeff?
Good. Hey, thanks again for being here and sharing some wisdom on, as being the expert when it comes to making sure we're comfortable in our homes. Before we get started, I'd love for you to tell that story. I know you're not the kind of guy, you're not somebody who walks around and brags about this, but something happened recently with one of your technicians going on a call that is pretty special. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I'm very proud of our technicians out there. They do a great job every year, every day out there. And last week, one of our guys went out to a call, no heat call. He had a part that he was going to put into this gentleman's furnace. And when he arrived at the home, he'd called the house twice, no answer, but he arrived at the home, knocked on the door, and got no answer. As he went to knock a second time, he could hear a faint yelling from inside of "help, help." So he did what we are really proud that he did. He called 911. He waited around for the paramedics and ambulance to arrive, who were then able to enter the home and find the gentleman had fallen and couldn't get up, an older gentleman. So we did fix the heater at that time, but the gentleman was taken to the hospital. He's okay, thankfully. And our technician stayed at the home, waited with the gentleman until the paramedics and police arrived so that they could help him get what he needed. And it made us really proud to hear and of the adventure that our technician had in helping that guy. So that's something that we enjoy hearing from our guys. If they have the opportunity to help somebody, we want them to.
Well, Mike, we live out here in California. Everybody thinks California, Hollywood. Hollywood could not have scripted this any better. It's except it's when that becomes real life. How do you handle that? And like you said, your guy stepped up, did what he had to do, and priority number one was taking care of that gentleman, and then of course, serving you and that customer by making sure his heater's working. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to your staff and Anthem for taking care of this. So
Yeah, and if he wasn't, if we didn't arrive, I don't know how long he would have stayed in that position. So, thankfully we were able to get there, hear him, and do what we needed to do to give that man some help.
Wow. Well, again, congratulations. Hey, Mike, I see some things back there on your desk. I know you're going to talk to us about that, but before I let you go, I just want to point out that this is a live show. I'll be back in the background, so if you have questions or comments, please put them in the comment section, and I will put them up to Mike, and Mike will answer those as we go along. So make sure if you have questions, you can leave with answers. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mike. Have a great show.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Jeff. So today, I wanted to talk about insulation. It's a major part of keeping your house comfortable. So when your house is comfortable, it's not just, as Jeff said earlier, the couch, the lighting, not even the air conditioning can do it all on its own. What really comes to comfort is everything working together. And one of the parts that you need to work in there is insulation. So this is a tube of insulation. This is a bat of insulation. But the insulation is what I would like to call the blanket of your home. I like to think of it and tell people, think of your insulation as kind of a jacket, a nice warm wool sweater or jacket that you put on a cold day. Okay. That's going to keep you toasty inside, keeps you warm throughout. That insulation for your home is the same thing. It's that wool jacket or wool blanket that you get to wrap your home with. And it keeps everything inside, including you, nice and toasty and comfortable. It works just the same in the summertime, keeping that heat from the outside from coming into your home when you're trying to keep your home cool. So insulation, there's two types that are out there. There's the bat insulation, which is this type. It's kind of like a pillowy bat insulation. And then there's the blow-in insulation, which is this type. And it's just kind of fluffy type insulation. So those are the two types of insulation that we've used in the past. We prefer this type. And I'll explain why in a minute. But as you can see, the bat insulation is just kind of like a pillow. I could squish it down and it squishes down. I try to fluff it up, but you want to keep it as fluffed up as you can. So the insulation, it adds comfort through your home. It increases the efficiency and prolongs the life of your air conditioning and heating system. And it also reduces the noise from outside to in. So it adds comfort into your home by keeping your house the same temperature throughout. So if you've been into homes where they have like hot spots over here, cold spots, it's one of the questions we're always asking customers. And they're always telling us, well, this room over here is always hot. Or, over in this corner, the temperature just changes. Or, my thermostat says that it's, 75 degrees in here, but you walk into my bedroom and it's 80 degrees. Okay. We got, a 5-degree difference between the two. Well, a lot of that is because of insulation and airflow. So if you could keep your insulation nice all around your home, what it's going to allow your airflow to do is make sure that the temperature then can be stable throughout your home. If you're lacking in insulation in an area, the temperature in that area is not going to be the same as other parts of your home. So you want to have that insulation properly installed and to a full level. So it also increases the efficiency and prolongs the life of your AC system. And the reason that we say that it prolongs the life of your AC system and increases efficiency is because if your air conditioner system doesn't have to come on or work as hard to achieve the desired temperature, then your efficiency, your home's efficiency on that air conditioner system's gonna go up. You're going to use less power to achieve that desired temperature. And it's going to prolong the life of your system because you're not going to be using your air conditioning as much with it cycling on, then off, and on, then off as your temperature in your home changes rapidly. You are able to get the temperature in your home to where you want it. And that insulation allows that home to sustain and hold that temperature for a longer period of time. And then it reduces noise by increasing another barrier for sound to travel through from the outside of your home to the inside of your home. So it is a noise reducing product. Almost every home we go to has poor insulation. And when I'm talking about poor insulation, older homes a lot of times have very little insulation. They typically have bat insulation. It's very little. And newer homes, although they may have a lot of insulation, once somebody enters that home attic and starts working, you have an electrician go up there, you have a plumber go up there. I hate to say it, but you have an AC guy go up there. They don't take care of that insulation. They may step on that insulation, compacting it. They may move that insulation out of the way, and now you have a gap where your insulation should be. Now you have no insulation in that spot, and they may lay a wire that presses that insulation down. You need your insulation to be as full and fluffy as possible. So that's why almost 90% of the homes that we go into have bad insulation and can use more. Okay? We like the blow-in insulation. That's this fluffy stuff right here. And that's because it's able to actually feather in and fill the gaps around wires, around uh, areas where a bat insulation may be held up with something underneath it that doesn't allow it to sit right. Could be a truss, could be a wire, could be all sorts of things that hold that insulation up, creating another gap under that insulation. The insulation needs to sit flat on your surface and be as fluffy and tall as possible. So the Department of Energy actually rates the whole country and zones us into different zones and determines how much insulation that zone should have. Our zone out in Riverside, California, is a zone 3. So in zone 3, the Department of Energy says they want a minimum of 30 R30. That's approximately 10.5 to 11 inches of insulation. That's a minimum. Ideally, they love for you to be up to R60. So we found kind of the sweet spot is probably around R38. That's their best valued area. And then you can add more on top of that. But R38 is what we typically try to go into a customer's home and make sure they're at that level. We install rulers just like these so you could see your insulation just at a glance, see how much insulation you have. And once this stuff is blown into a home, it does not compact. So it'll sit there for the life of your home without compacting. The only time that it starts to lose its value and compact is if somebody goes up there and walks on it, squishes it down, or does something that removes the insulation from that area or reduces it. So this is a great product. It's easy for us to put into your attic. To add more, we can add it right on top of your bat insulation. We've also gone in where we've removed all the bat insulation, cleaned out an attic, and blown in new insulation. And that's a great product also. But most customers already have a little bit of insulation, and they just need to get up to a level that's going to make it effective for their home. So that's what we want to do with the insulation in your home is get it back up to the R30, R38 level so that it's filling all the gaps, it's lays flat, it gives your house the protection and blanket that it needs and that you need to stay comfortable, keep your energy costs down, and make sure that your home stays the way that we want it to stay as long as possible. So I'm a fan of insulation, have always been, and I recommend it to everybody that we go to that we see a need for that. The value in this stuff is great. I suggest it insulation to everybody out there. So give us a call if you're interested in some insulation. We can do the duct work and insulation and help you with your plumbing and furnace AC needs also. So.
Mike, we have a couple of questions here. The question is, when insulation is less than desirable, in other words, or less than the R38, can you give us an idea what this costs when it comes to energy? Like, not how much does it cost to install, but what is that costing us as far as wasted energy?
Yeah, so the Department of Energy says that you could have about a 20% savings on your home cooling costs and up to a 10% total energy saving costs by air sealing and adding insulation. So the Department of Energy's done a lot of studies on these things. They put a value of about up to 20%. If you already have some insulation in there and stuff, you're probably still looking at around, conservatively, I would say about 10% energy savings. And that's savings on your heating and cooling portion of your energy bill.
Another question is, what can a person expect to pay for insulation? I know that's kind of general, but is there like a foot or an inch or that type of measurement for people to get a grip?
Yeah, so we do have we do charge by the square foot. So we take a measurement of your accessible attic, trying to figure out how much of it's accessible. Depends on how much you want to add. I don't have the pricing in front of us right now, but if you give us a call, we can get that for you. And of course, depends on if you want to go to the R38 level or you say, hey, let's get up to the R60 level. We can do that. There's also some costs associated with, depending on the type of lights you have, we may have to add what's called a baffle over these uninsulated lights. So if they're not insulation contact lights, um, then up in the attic, we just have to add a little barrier on top of that light so that our insulation can fill around it. So it depends on how much of that you have. And then also making sure that we still have some free airspace in your attic where you want to have some ventilation in your attic. So sometimes we have to add eave vents that go up so that we can get some ventilation in that attic. So any moisture or anything like that is able to get out of your attic. And then keep your attic healthy.
And another question is, does Anthem offer any type of inspection to check on insulation we have in our homes?
Yes, so we do. That would be a free inspection that we can offer, where we would go up. We'd actually add some of these rulers in your attic, and then take some pictures. Come up with a value. We could take a look at how many lights you have, whether or not you're going to need the baffles for the uh, air attic ventilation, and that would be a free inspection. And then we would give you a report with a quote.
Mike, this is great. And on the screen now for information is 760-895-2629 or 2621. And that's good for people that are in Riverside and the Coachella Valley.
That's correct. We do have an office in Riverside, and our main office is in Coachella Valley. So that number will go to our Coachella Valley, but the people coming out are our Riverside team who will be in checking your home and also performing the work. So.
Well, Mike, this is good. I learned a lot about that. I was always wondering about that R value, how you figured it, and then putting those rulers actually in someone's attic. It's kind of nice to see that it's almost like being in a pool. Am I jumping in the 4-foot end or am I going off in the deep end? So I appreciate that. Any last thoughts about insulation before we, no pun intended, before we wrap up today's show?
No, not really. If we're going to dive into the deep end, let's go with the 60 inches of insulation. And this stuff is awesome. It's not hazardous to anybody's health. You saw me touching it earlier. You can breathe the stuff, and it's not hazardous. They've done a lot of studies on it. Our guys will typically wear a mask up there because of the dust that's up there than the insulation. But just to be safe, I wouldn't be eating the pink stuff. But it's good stuff. It's excellent.
I love it. So if you're in a situation where you feel like you've got some hot spots in your house and you're thinking it's your air conditioning, maybe your insulation, and give Anthem a call. They do have that free inspection. The number is 760-895-2621. And don't go another winter or summer where you have to wear a sweater in a corner or you have to put an extra fan in the corner because of the heat. Call Anthem today at 760-895-2621 and let Mike and his hero team take care of you. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jeff.